KBSC Apache Junction and K241BQ Fort McDowell.
Phoenix's funny stations.
It's a comedy calamity with the Wild Jokers starting right now. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And good morning and welcome to Wild Jokers here on Wild Jokers Radio. It's Brad over there and Len over here.
You didn't have enough coffee yet today, dude. You're way too quiet.
I'm actually trying to be a little quiet because we're on location. We're at Piggly's Smokehouse.
The baby's sleeping.
There's no baby sleeping. Come on. Piggly's is just opening up here. Stapley Road and US 60 here in the heart of Mesa. And how are you this morning?
Oh, my God. I love eating at this place.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's
the
one thing. If you like, it's fair food, which it's
well,
known
let's put it
for.
this way. If you like anything with barbecue sauce on it,
to win.
that you can't go wrong. If you like anything that can be deep fried, you definitely can't go wrong.
Okay, you dove into the desserts more than I did.
I couldn't help myself. She brought us those deep fried Oreos last time we were out here.
Right.
Obviously, I'm still talking about them. And, I mean, they've got deep-fried Snickers and Twinkies and all kinds of other shenanigans, as you would say.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans to your belt.
Don't forget, they also have those funnel cakes.
Which actually,
you remember that?
Last
that
weekend,
thing was legendary,
a week from today, the lovely Michelle and myself were there, and she picked up a funnel cake for the girls.
Oh, they must have been in heaven.
Literally, she threw it on the table, and it was devoured like just
like a pack of wolves.
Yeah, it was.
I know. Well, it was sitting here in front of us. I couldn't help myself. It was ridiculous.
I know you and funnel cake.
Yeah, well, I got a thing with funnel cake. Something about girls and funnel cake. I don't know.
Well, and also we're excited to announce Piggly's is going to be doing a Wild Joker night. I'm ignoring you. A Wild Joker night on June 26th. You're flustering me with your funnel fun.
Sorry.
I'm going to call it funnel fun from now on.
Funnel fun times.
Funnel fun times.
Ooh, that's even better.
That's,
right.
Wow,
that's a good visual.
So obviously your funnel cake was glazed.
It's a family show.
See, that's how I shut you down right there. I shut you down right there.
You didn't shut me down. You just
forward.
made everybody throw up.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yes.
Really?
Okay.
Seriously?
Let's regroup.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, regroup.
More coffee.
Well, more coffee. Well, we're talking about June 26th here. But before that, another great destination spot, a little actually just different themed. One thing that's really cool about these Joker nights, you come to, for instance, Piggly's. It's got like the barbecue food, the fair food, where families can come and hang out, and you can be hang loose and chill with your flip-flops.
And it's reasonably priced.
Your board shorts and stuff like that, and you're good to go. But what is it, May 31st?
May 31st is our first one at Vito's Restaurant in Mesa.
Which is a Saturday.
Yep.
Which is a very, very nice hangout. It is the Comedy Cellar, it is called.
That's a special engagement, and we highly recommend you making reservations in advance. There are tickets to be purchased.
And I think this thing is going to sell out, and tickets are going fast.
Really fast. Matter of fact, I would call today. 480-832-3311. Vito's. Make sure you tell them you want to be part of the Comedy Cellar event on May 31st.
And Bob Caboto is going to be a big part of it, who's been on The Last Comic Standing. He's at National, been showcased on Showtime, Star Search, things of that nature.
You know what else? I think he's actually involved in one of the newer Last Comic Standing events or something similar to that. I know that he was out in L.A. doing some work on something like that, which obviously he'll tell us about.
Obviously, if you're that big, you're that good to be featured nationally that.
And if you've been on our show, you're obviously pretty big.
Well, and
we don't just take any Rugrats on here.
Well, and that's
they let us do the show.
Well,
but
of course, but we just host the show. But this is a very special, actually, all-star show. This is a thank you show besides to our sponsors, our listeners as well. That's you out there. This week, because since we launched here at 24/7 Comedy Radio, this was, February, first week in February. We signed our contract.
Right.
Bottom line, since then, we've had week after week have had monster shows.
Huge
and
names.
such outreach from the national comedians in supporting our show and what we're trying to do.
Well, they've been really receptive, actually. I was pleasantly surprised at how receptive, because we've got some big names we've had on this show. I mean, it's worth, patting ourselves on the back, so to speak.
That's why we're doing the all-star show, as we're going to call it. This week, we are showcasing, in the next segment, Ron White, Tommy Chong, and Carlos Mencia. I mean, these are the caliber guests we've been having. We've been very blessed.
It's like the Wild Jokers Comedy Showdown review.
It really is, but that's just the past couple months what we've been doing. And behind that, that's going to be on this show. Of course, I'm going to reiterate once more time, Ron White is going to be joining us on this show, which is a classic interview. But all these are classic interviews. Carlos Mencia, who was early on when we just launched Wild Jokers Radio.
He was one of our first guests.
Is one of our first guests, and a great, emotional interview as well.
Yeah, it was really, actually, it was a little stunning, quite frankly, as how emotional he got.
And he was emotional, and then Tommy Chong was very relaxed.
And he also got a little emotional, too, when he was talking about the little girl and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
just really, one thing that has really been fun writing and creating this show has been, we've gotten to get to know the comedians more about them just making jokes, but who the guys and
most of them
are.
we've actually gotten to meet as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, and
they're
been very
so
fortunate.
receptive. I know when I've gotten to meet a few of those guys backstage and I tell them who I am, because obviously they can't see my handsome radio face.
You can see it on our banner.
I guess if they look at you can't miss it on the banner. But I say who I am, and it's amazing how they perk up and they're so happy. Hey, thanks for having me on your show. And I'm thinking, that's so cool. Like Ron White or Tommy Davidson or Tommy Chong, or any of those guys just, appreciating us. It's kind of neat because those guys don't need to appreciate anybody anymore. They've been there, done that.
But the comedians, I think, are a little bit different. I've been in entertainment and sports radio
kind of like the hockey guys.
Down to earth.
Right.
I think because being a comedian, and I've assessed this and I've heard so many interviews and done so many interviews, you've got to earn your keep and you got to hustle and you've got to beat the pavement and promote. And so I think a lot of the mindset with the comics are, hey, we're grateful that these guys really like us. I make them laugh speaking for them. So we showcase them. I think it warms their heart, and I think it's really good to get to know them. But my take on it is I like to get to know the people who they are,
right?
More so than just their shtick. I want to know what made you into a comedian.
We're pretty good at getting that out of most of these guys too. I've noticed that. Where we always get at least one mostly or partially serious response that's not just out there just to jab to get a quick laugh. I mean, like what we were talking about with Tommy Chong when he mentions the little girl and some of the things he talked about in that interview. I mean, he's a pretty funny guy just the way he is, but he got like real serious on us, and he really was something he really believed in, and he like you could hear the heartfelt message he was giving us. It wasn't just the line just to sound like, oh, I really care. He really genuinely cares about various issues and things, and it's just cool because all you ever see them is in their movies or on their TV shows and with the various comedians, and it's hard to really get a feel for who they are.
Well, and also like last week with George Lopez, who joined us on Wild Jokers Radio. Great interview, and really getting to know George on that one-on-one kind of capacity with the interview. It was compelling to me how he just dissected the fact starting as a stand-up comedian and evolving into TV,
right? And
how different it was, because you think in the mental theory of being a stand-up doing an improv type deal where it's just you control the room, you're on fire and fuego, to being almost robotic and staged,
right?
And the lines are there, you have to work on your delivery, and everything is just manufactured.
Yeah, no one's really telling him what to do when he's doing a stand-up act. He's just rolling, and when he's doing his show, it's a whole different animal.
Well, and also,
and you can respect that too.
Looking back, also a couple weeks back, our tribute to comedy and game shows.
Oh my God, that was legendary. We had some guys on there that were legendary. Wink
Martindale. I mean, and reflecting back, and if you missed any of this sound, we encourage you to go to our website at www.thewildjokers.com. Once again, that's www.thewildjokers.com. Go to the archives link.
Yep, click the archives link, and it's got almost every show we've ever done. It's got some interviews on there. We try to keep it as up to date as possible.
Yeah, but if you miss something like the game show ones, I thought it was really cool because when you spoke to like Bob Eubanks, host of the Newlywed Game Show, which he's known for, and coining the phrase
talking about the whole whoopee thing. That was so cool when we found out how that started. That was cool. But did
you know Eubanks managed Merle Haggard and Dolly Parton?
No,
I did not at that point in
idea.
time. I mean, it was a new
idea.
discovery, and certain things in his career. The last meeting of Elvis Presley with Wink Martindale and his
wife. That was
a
crazy story that Wink's wife used to date Elvis.
That was a weekend before
Seriously?
Elvis Presley passed away. That is on the www.thewildjokers.com. Check it out. I mean, it has been a history lesson as well, and now going forward, two big announcements, one of which is next week, a week from today. Wild Jokers Radio is very happy to announce that Rodney Carrington's going to be joining us on the show. He's going to be at Wild Horse Pass.
That's the day of our first Vito's night.
That is, it's going to be a
quite
culmination of a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
we have the Vito's Comedy Night, and we have Rodney.
Right.
So it's going to be
control.
Bada bing, bada boom kind of day.
Something like that.
Besides that, we have been invited to be pitchmen and spokespeople for the world's oldest rodeo in Prescott, Arizona, We are doing a feature on the Rodeo Clowns, the comedy of rodeo nationally, which I think is going to be a lot of fun because those guys are quite humorous. I mean, they're paid to be running out there, save the cowboy, of course, from the bull or any of the livestock that can kill him. But between between the bulls coming out, though, they're mic'd and they're telling jokes. And they're out there being goofballs.
That's awesome.
And that's another thing. So
awesome.
we have a lot of great things coming up on Wild Jokers Radio, and we're so excited to start this kind of a thank you and greatest hits portion of segment 2, which is going to be coming up next. We're going to actually kind of just do a collage. We're putting it together of Carlos Mencia, Ron White, and Tom Chong.
It's like our version of the mixtape.
Yeah, and some of the other folks who we mentioned, if they're not on this show, as I said, check out our website, www.thewildjokers.com. We're going to go to our first break, and on the other side, our greatest hits is coming on the way. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Wild Jokers.
You're listening to The Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM. Autobahn Mortgage, 602-980-LOAN. That's 602-980-5626. Call Autobahn Mortgage for all your commercial and residential mortgage needs. We are friendly, fast, and efficient. 602-980-LOAN. You can also see us on the internet, www.autobahnmortgage.com. Call us today, 602-980-LOAN, 602-980-5626.
It's Len from the Wild Jokers, and you know my battle cry is all about the small business person. And that's why I endorse Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Some of the finest jewelry you ever want to find. If you need an engagement ring, wedding band, watches, necklaces, firearms, ammunition, power tools, you name it, they got it at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. 1326 North Pinal Avenue in the heart of Casa Grande, or call 520-836-7774. Once again, that's 520-836-7774.
Welcome back to The Wild Jokers, and you're listening to Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM. And we're back, about to get ready to get into our revisit some really cool interview show, or our retro show. Let's start off with Carlos Mencia, and he gives us a little insight to the movie phone guy, talks about 976 numbers, the Sears catalog, and VHS tapes. Let's go to that interview right now.
Brad and Lynn.
How's
Hey,
it going?
Carlos, how are you?
I'm good, guys. I'm doing impressions of the movie phone guy just because he's not going to be doing the movie phone anymore.
Oh, really?
Did you hear about that?
No, what happened?
Yeah. They said that nobody calls anymore for movie time.
So how you been
People
doing?
now have phones. They have phones with apps that tell them what movie times are, so they don't need anymore. Get rid of pay phones. And CDs.
And CDs.
That's so true, but I still shop the CD. Maybe I'm just so old school. We're running out of CDs, and especially, I think technology is shutting down the economy that way for jobs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't even know that this still existed in the first place. It's dialing 777 film anyway.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I took a picture. I found a payphone in kind of a rural, remote area here in the state of Arizona. I took a photo of it. I mean, maybe I'm speaking my age here, but, a payphone's a lost art form because I used to stick, like, bubble gum on the earpiece,
I agree, bro. I totally agree. I'm the same. I when I heard that he's retiring, I was like, who? It made me think of when I was a kid, and, there were those 976 numbers.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd use them to play with yourself, but you could only do, like, 2 or 3. Because then, it was like $1 or $1.99, and your mom wouldn't find out about it. But if you did like 10, all of a sudden the bill was $20, $30 more than normal.
Yeah. Totally, I racked up a real good one.
My mom would be like, "What do you?" Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But when you're going through puberty and you discover the 976 numbers back in the day, you really had to get good at your art, at your craft of working it, because you didn't want to rack up a big charge.
Now you can get anything you want for free on the internet. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be like, I'll never be that comedian because I love technology, but sometimes you just want to slap a teenager and go, what are you complaining about?
Right.
Do you realize that we had to look at catalogs from Sears even before Victoria's Secret came out?
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
go to that one page where some girl kind of showed a little bit of butt, but not really, and imagine what she looked at naked. There was no free porn or Triple X, whatever, where you get it for free
Right.
and you could see. Are you kidding? Even later on, when there was 976, you had to pay for a recording of a girl going, "Oh no, are you Racketeer? Are you Racketeer?" And you're trying to get through the accent, going, ignore the accent. "Oh, you Racketeer? No, I don't like. Say like."
That's so true. And funny enough, Carlos, I'm actually from your backyard. I grew up in Southern California, in the LA area, up in the San Fernando Valley. And my biggest thrill combing the streets for, scantily clad women was there was a publication of a newspaper that was called the LA Express. And it used to have little pictures of women and stuff. They would be covered up, but it was all the 976 numbers and everything. And it'd be always posted in front of like the 7-Eleven. And I loved it. It was cheap thrills.
Yep. That's just dated all
Oh,
of us.
that's what we had to imagine. Everything that's like real for everybody stuff. And who I want to know if there is at least one person that is obsessed with the movie phone guy. That dude must have a pager still.
Oh yeah,
No
for
way.
sure. He's got a brick phone. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, he's probably got one of those phones that attaches to something that you have to hold like a big battery, like in the
bag phone. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the bag.
It's a
phone.
weapon.
Yeah, right.
You can beat somebody with it.
Back
Also,
in those days, those were awesome.
Yeah.
the thing that also going back, Brad and I here on the Wild Jokers were talking our last show about VHS and Betamax, the videos. And remember going to the video stores where they had the adult section that had like creaky doors, and you would kind of sneak in, and you would always look at some weird dude that was in there looking at the porn films.
Oh, dude, I remember Be Kind, Please Rewind.
Yeah.
The FBI warning,
That's
yes.
right. Oh my God, that's so funny. Be kind, please rewind. That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's from
You,
back.
you had to rewind it before you put it back. And there was no red box.
No.
You had to go to that store, and then you go to the dirty section, and everybody knew that you were getting that one.
Right.
Everybody knew you were, and there was always a kind of semi-cute chick that you might possibly have had a shot banging.
Right. You're walking up
before
with the porn.
rented. Yeah, exactly. Right before you rented, whores and cows,
Those were the good old days,
So
and
bad.
That's the thing is that technology. I'd be in so much trouble nowadays, considering the only thing that is sad. The technology I do love because the accessibility of like adult entertainment and things like that. But on the other side, for instance, I always loved crank calling. I was the king of the three-way call, where you and your buddy would call two different people and crank call them simultaneously, hit the three-way call, and they would both pick up and start arguing.
Yeah, that was before caller ID, of course.
Oh, no caller ID, and you could actually have some fun goofing on people.
Yeah.
What has happened?
Oh, you can do. Yeah, but all that stuff is going away. Here's what sucks. Like for my kid, a lot of kids today, the problem is that there's not that huge of a gap in technology because we kind of have to be aware of technology just like them.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference was, when I was young, my mom didn't know that in the middle of the night there was this thing in Southern California called ZTV, and on the weekends they showed the porns.
Yeah.
If you actually got the antenna in the right place, you could actually have that line move slightly to the top so you could almost see the whole thing.
The squiggle so you could see the boob. Yes, that was, yes, I did the same thing.
My mom had no clue whatsoever. My son is screwed.
Yeah.
Because I know technology. This little son of a bitch has a computer. I'm monitoring it. I'm putting tracking software on it, so when he hits a key, I know. So when he goes to a URL, I know what it is.
Right.
My mom had no clue of all the stuff that I was doing. She was, literally retarded when it came to any kind of technology. One time she was like, "What are these 976 numbers? There's like 5 of them." I was like, "Oh yeah, Mom. I was calling my family in Honduras, Mom."
Oh, okay.
That's a good son. Calling your aunt to say hello in Honduras. Good for you.
Such a sweet
my
boy.
Kid, man, he's gonna come out of the room right after being in there for whatever. I'm gonna be like, "So you like big fat black chicks, huh? That's what you masturbate to?"
Great stuff from Carlos Mencia. And next we're going to move on to our interview with Tommy Chong. Of course, I'm a huge fan myself, and it was definitely an honor to interview him. He was real interesting, talked a little bit about medical marijuana, talked about touring, talked about edibles, and also the origin of Dave's Not Here. And for you big fans of Cheech and Chong, you know a little bit about Dave's Not Here. Let's go to Tommy Chong in our interview.
Hello?
Hello, is this Tommy?
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, this is Brad and Len calling you from the Wild Jokers radio show in Phoenix. How are you this morning?
Hey, good. How you doing, guys?
Good. Thank you so much for taking our call. I got to tell you, this is like, I almost needed a moment alone before calling you because I'm such a big fan. I was talking to my partner here, Len, and I had to ask you this real quick.
Sure.
Back in the day when you guys did Up in Smoke, and your credit at the end is man, whose idea was that?
Mine.
I got to tell you, a lot of people don't even see that. And when I tell people that, they are like, that's hilarious. I'm like, you guys can't appreciate Cheech and Chong unless you see all those details. Well, thanks for joining our show, Tommy. I want to introduce my co-host here, Len, and I'm Brad, and we're the Wild Jokers here in Phoenix on 24/7 Comedy. And once again, thanks for coming to our show.
My pleasure, man.
Tommy, it's Len. I want to ask you, how's touring been? You've got so much. We're going to go back and forth kind of with your bio and your career and kind of going forward in the interview. But how has the road been to you this past year? As I said, I know you guys are back out and about, and this day and age for our age demographic, I'll tell you that here on the show, the retro acts that are coming around are just they're embraced so much.
I'll tell you, the thrill is gone. You know, we don't get all excited that we're going on tour anymore. You know, we don't stay up late all night thinking, oh my God, we're going on tour. It's going to be so much fun. But then on the other hand, you know, when you don't work for a while, it's nice to get out there. So it's really nice, you know, especially if we're going to, you know, places like Phoenix and, you know, places where there's really good smoke, you know.
Right. Yeah, well, this is definitely, now that we're on the medical train here, it's definitely helped our situation, that's for sure.
Definitely true, and we're excited that you guys are coming out this Saturday at Wild Horse Pass here in Chandler, Arizona, and we're promoting Cheech and Chong coming out, and I know Brad is such a huge fan of yours. This has been like Christmas morning for him. It really has. But as for both of us, because the trend, the medical marijuana trend, I got to get your thoughts on it because I know you're a big backer and everything. Finally, I think our country's finally loosening up just a little bit. What's your thought on from going from state to state? We're on the medical marijuana side of things. California is. You look what happened in Colorado and Washington. What's your thoughts on how the trending of the marijuana topic?
Well, you know, Cheech and I, we've always been like 30 years ahead of ourselves. We've known the benefits and the goodness of the pot for many years, and you know, I think it was that report on CNN that really was the straw that broke the camel's back, because when Sanjay Gupta came out and showed the little girls being treated, you know, with epilepsy and they're being cured with you know, the marijuana. I think that ended all the arguments, you know, because remember the argument was always about, well, what about the kids? We got to keep the pot away from the kids, and now it shows you it's curing little girls' epilepsy, you know, and so there's no argument anymore, you know. They you know, and when it went legal in Colorado, and you know, they're expecting, you know, all sorts of trouble and not one death, not one incident. And everybody, you know, finally, everybody's waking up and realizing, you know, that we were sold a bill of goods by the liquor people, you know, and the police and you know, the private jails, you know, all that stuff, you know. It was just a big pile of horse manure.
Well, that's one thing I've definitely noticed, being in radio for 19 years and being on plenty of tour buses. I've never had somebody who likes to indulge in a little marijuana get aggressive, have any problems.
No.
The worst thing, if you get in front of like maybe the pantry where they have the Pop-Tarts, maybe they get a little ruffled. But,
yeah, that's about it right there.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, and now the dangerous drug is edibles.
Yeah, that's it, because you don't know exactly how much you're getting.
That is the dangerous drug, you know. I mean, there's cops dropping all over the place. They eat an edible and they phone up and burn themselves in. I'm dying.
Oh, man.
No, it's all good. It's good for the country too, because now, we're being, we're raising money, and it's the kind of money that is going towards schools and toward repairing the roads, and it's all good. It's all good. Finally,
Yeah, I heard.
I remember when they were busting people for outdoor gardens. They'd find a grow in some national forest, and then they would report that they found this dangerous fertilizer. They're using dangerous fertilizer.
It's interesting that you bring up the fact that the benefits to children. I just saw a newscast just yesterday where it was interviewing a family relocating from New York to Colorado because their daughter had such severe epilepsy. And it was really heart-wrenching. I don't know, a lot of people that, I have family members that even have said to me, it's like, I don't support it, but I support it being legal for the tax benefits. Just like you said, the roads, the schools. I had heard numbers like $70 million in Colorado, some crazy numbers. It's definitely something that you said it right. You guys were 30, 40 years ahead of the mark on this one, and I definitely appreciate that. But I want to change. I want to change gears 1 second, and I want to talk about the early days. When you guys first started and you first started doing your records, what was that like? I mean, was it sit down and have a smoke session and just let it go, or did you guys really plan those out? What was the kind of the strategy there?
Well, yeah, basically that was it. Because our teach, we were going to rehearse. We made a record deal with Lou Adler, and now we had, what are we going to do? We have to make a record. So we were in this little room behind A&M Records in Hollywood. And so Cheech put on a costume and he went outside, because he's really like a method actor. He has to get into character. He has to put on a costume. So he goes outside and it's boiling hot sun, and it's really hot. And the door locked from inside. And so he's knocking on the door, and I'm supposed to just open the door and let him in. But for some reason, I was trying to record our rehearsal. And so when he knocked, I took my eyes off the recording device, and I looked at the door, and I didn't know if it was recording or not. So when he knocked, and I said, "Who is it?" And he said, "It's me, man. Let me in." Well, I wasn't sure if it was recording or not, so I paused. And when I paused, it was a perfect pause. And so when he knocked again, I said, "Who is it?" I thought, "Well, we'll start the bit over again." That's how it was recording. So I said, "Well, we'll start the bit over again." And then I heard he was annoyed. I heard that in his voice. And so my joy in life has always been torturing Cheech.
The truth comes out.
And so I thought, I'm going to see how long I can keep there. And every time he knock, I go, "Who is it?" "It's Glenn, it's me." And then finally goes, "It's me, Dave, man, Dave." And there's Dave, and I could hear his voice go, "Yeah, it's Dave," We're in this cool air-conditioned place, and I said, "Dave's not here." Well, he blew it.
Boy, that was fun talking to Tommy Chong. We really enjoyed him. He was a real neat guy, and plus we got to meet him. Actually, we got to meet all these guys, both Carlos, Tommy Chong, and Ron White, who's our next person that's coming up on our highlight show. And Ron White was kind of cool, of course, as we all know. Talks a little bit about how he came across Jeff Foxworthy, a little bit about his TV career, and a few other things that might be of interest. So let's go to Ron White here and see what he had to say.
Welcome, Ron White, to the Wild Jokers. How are you?
Well, I feel like 100 pesos, cash money.
Well, we are so
$9, folks.
Now, we are thrilled you're coming out to the Valley of the Sun once again. I mean, you have a lot of history here with, of course, Blue Collar Comedy 1. Actually, the origin of it was at the Dodge Theater out here. Now it's Comerica Theater, but it was here at the Dodge. But we're thrilled to have you back here at Wild Horse Pass.
Well, thanks, man. I love it there. It's I'm going to bring my golf clubs and stay a couple extra days. I got a cousin that lives in Phoenix. It's just one of my favorite people in the world. And you can squeeze in a little golf, tell some jokes. Phoenix is always a great hang.
Len and I were talking a little bit about your act and the cigar and the scotch, and it was funny because he has a question about that. But my question is the cigar and scotch doesn't seem very blue collar. So how did that come about?
Well, I had to quit smoking cigarettes, and it used to be when I first started stand-up, I couldn't figure out what to do with my hands. So I would go up there with a beer and a cigarette, and I seemed to be fine. And that just slowly evolved. I couldn't smoke cigarettes anymore, and so I just started smoking cigars. And with the $80 a month I'm saving, not smoking cigarettes, I'm smoking $700 worth of cigars. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all the money.
Well, I must ask you this because I've been curious. I'm like a Dutch master guy here. I'm on the low brow of cigar smokers, but I'm curious. What is your favorite type of cigar, and what is your favorite quality scotch?
Well, my favorite cigar is probably a Monte Cristo No. 4 Cuban, but I also like the Opus X Petit Lancero, and then Dominican cigars that you can buy in the States. Would be Opus and Davidoff is made in the Dominican Republic. Arturo Fuente is made there, and they're all good. The cigars aren't like cigarettes in that you don't really lock into one brand like you do cigarettes. There's just so many great cigars.
That's so funny because I was telling Len, I like you. I like the Monte Cristo of the Cuban flavor, of course. Had a few of those in Europe. And, it's funny, we've talked about the Opus, we talked about the Fuente. That's really funny that you brought all those up, so that's right on course.
Yeah, I would really love the Davidoff Millennium blends, and I've smoked those for a long time. And but they're, a great cigar is a great cigar, and a lot of people make it. So, you just kind of get your preference. But the Petit Lancero Opus is $800 a box. So whoa. I smoke them when somebody gives them to me as a gift.
Well, just to remind everybody, we're hanging out right now on Wild Jokers Radio with Ron White, who's going to be appearing at Wild Horse Pass this Friday. I got a quick question. How did, when Blue Collar Comedy started and all the success, it just took off. And I must admit something, your act, when I saw it in the theater, was my favorite. But how did your relationship form to get on that tour with Jeff Foxworthy and the guys? I've just always been curious about that. How did that relationship start?
Well, I met Jeff the first day I ever did stand-up. He was the headliner at the Arlington Funny Bone, and I was coming in to do my first 4-minute set, and he was the headliner in the room that week, and he came out to open mic and try some new stuff. And so I came off stage, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you're really funny, but you need to put the punchline at the end of the joke." And I was like, "What?" So that's how generous Foxworthy is. He sits down with a brand new comedian and teaches him something about structure,
Right.
Which is now I can't even remember how to do it wrong. It was so long ago, but I would say the funny part that I had something else left I had to say, we would step on the laugh. And so he literally sat there. I had 4 jokes or 5 jokes, and he sat there and reworded it. So the funny word was laugh, and which has worked great for the last 27 years.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ron? Who would you?
Got big enough to take somebody with him. He took me with him. So I was already with Jeff when the Blue Collar thing came around. I was opening for him on the road. And we were in a private jet. He was leasing coming back from a gig. And he said, we're going to do this really big tour, and if you play your cards right, you can be part of it. And I said, why don't I just give you my cards and let you play them?
Sounds about right.
So that's how that started. It was a combination of our tour, Jeff and I's tour, or Jeff's tour that I was on, and Bill Engvall, and another guy that wasn't Larry the Cable Guy. I'm missing his name right this second, which is not unusual for me. And Craig Hawkley.
Okay.
And then we did, I think, 20 cities with Craig, and found out that Dan can do it. So Dan Whitney is Larry the Cable Guy, if you don't know. Right. And so, which was a great move for us. Not that Hawkley wasn't really good, he was, but Larry was a great counterbalance to me. And then Bill and Jeff are, fairly similar. And so so it gave it great balance, and he's so wildly popular. It certainly helped with everything.
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head. When I experienced it, and I actually own all the DVDs as well, and been a fan as well as just a follower of your career. But I really think actually the counterbalance of your shtick and Larry the Cable Guy were such a good balance, because from my angle, yeah, I come from the horse and kind of the redneckville a little bit, but a higher end, and so I appreciate the cigar and the scotch and the shtick that you had in Blue Collar. But let me follow up with that, from that experience to going to television. What was some of your high points in your television career? Because you do have quite a little bio here that I'm going through, and it's from Dave Attell's Gong Show to just different movies you've been in. You've been in a Rascal Flatts video. You've been all over the board. What are your high points, would you say, in television?
Well, in television, I don't think I have a high point, and it certainly wasn't the Gong Show. They wouldn't let me smoke my cigar at the Gong Show.
Oh.
Now, that's okay, and they're really pretty crappy about it, but that's okay. And one of the acts was a guy that rode a unicycle while juggling burning chainsaws.
Oh,
now, that's fine. Yeah, you're good, Ron. We think that cigar is going to get away from you and burn this place down. So
right.
So anyway, that did that because I love David Tell. He's your friend, and I'm like, okay, Dave. And but in movies, the Jane Mansfield's car is the only one I really am proud of. I was a little, some little bitty parts. The people at New Line Cinema who made Horrible Bosses, and I just turned down Horrible Bosses too because I won't cancel a show to do it, and they knew way before they asked me that they wanted me to do it, but they waited until I had a date already on sale, and then I will not cancel a date unless it's a dire emergency. I will not do that to my fans because that's how I make my living. They don't pay me anything to do movies. And but Jane Mansfield's Car is a great project and a great movie, and Billy Bob Thornton wrote the part for me, and so it was great because Robert Duvall was in the movie, Kevin Bacon, Robert Patrick, John Hurt,
an all-star cast.
Billy Bob. So I told Robert Duvall asked Billy Bob, who's going to play the part of Neil Barron? And, have you seen this movie?
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
We got to.
Anyway, he said who's going to play the part of Neil Barron, and Billy Bob said Ron White's going to play it. And he goes, "Do you know Ron White?" He goes, "No, but I bet if we ask him to, he'll do it."
Yeah, that sounds excellent.
So that's how it all came about, and it's a wonderful film, and I got mixed reviews. Some people slammed it, some people praised it, and but it's really worth watching.
What a legendary group of interviews. Carlos Mencia, Tommy Chong, Ron White. Unbelievable guys, unbelievable comedians, great people in person. We've met them all. And at this point, that's the end of this segment. And right around the back end here, third segment of the show, as we like to call the Beat on the Streets, coming up. Plus, we talk to some of our new sponsors. So make sure you hang in there and make sure you come on back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Wild Jokers. You're listening to The Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
It's Len from the Wild Jokers, and you know my battle cry is all about the small business person. And that's why I endorse Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Some of the finest jewelry you ever want to find. If you need an engagement ring, wedding band, watches, necklaces, firearms, ammunition, power tools, you name it, they got it at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. 1326 North Pinal Avenue in the heart of Casa Grande, or call 520-836-7774. Once again, that's 520-836-7774.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
And welcome back to Wild Jokers Radio here. Brad, it was fun actually reminiscing, shall I say, with our last segment when it was just the all-stars of the past, 4 months. What are you laughing at, dude? What are you laughing at?
Because normally I don't hold the microphone. And it's
why are you holding the microphone, by the way?
Because the way that we're sitting here, I can't.
You were messing around with everything.
The cord's a little. I could give you the short cord and make you have to sit down right next to the box, or I get the short cord and then have to hold.
I
whatever.
can walk
Since
around.
I'm sitting in front of the board anyway. The board.
You're the board master.
Yeah, the board op.
The board master. Hey, before we get you starting to beat the street, start beating it, we got to catch up with some of our sponsors, some of the thank yous that are going on. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't be bringing you Ron White or Tommy Chong or Carlos Mencia or all the big names that we brought to you. That's kind of what we're doing.
George Lopez.
George Lopez, the motif of the show. Bob Eubanks, Wink Martindale, Chuck Woolery. The list goes on and on and on. Well, what we're going to do is I got to flash him down. But look at Brian's working the room over there.
He's working it. He's trying to sell killing bugs.
Brian, can we steal you? See, this is live radio right there.
Right.
See, hanging out live, by the way, at Pigley's 60 and Stapley Road. We want to encourage everybody to come on down because June 26th, we're going to actually have a Wild Joker comedy night actually here at Pigley Smokehouse, which is US 60 and Stapley Road. Let's see, he's getting his Hello Kitty headset going here.
He looks so cute on him.
It's precious, just simply precious, Bradley.
That's
all
scary.
right, Brian. Nuisance,
okay, I'm here.
pest control. Of course, you've been helping me through my swarms of bees dilemmas. How you been?
Pretty good. Busy. It's good.
What we like to do, first and foremost, you have this golf tournament you're going to be doing. It's all the way in January.
Correct.
But the thing that's cool about this gives us a lot of time to prepare. You need sponsors. It's for a great charity. Talk about the charity and what you need from the general public besides promoting your business.
Basically, first off, the charity is C for Vets, which is SEE, the number 4, and then Vets, which basically stands for Supporting Education and Employment for Vets. What they do is they do a lot of student summits at local colleges, working with veteran students and everything, trying to connect them with the business world for networking purposes, and just trying to empower them to, find a new career or
which has been a real dilemma actually across the country right now. A lot of vets coming home, they are skilled and they are trained, but they're not getting job placement. They're not finding the gigs.
Yeah, and a lot of the problem is they come back and they've spent the last 4 or 8 years or whatever doing a specific field, and 90% of the time that field doesn't relate to the civilian life. So C for Vets helps them just transition from the military world into civilian life.
Where's the golf tournament at?
It's at Gold Canyon Golf Resort, and it's January 24th, 2015.
And you know what? I got to say one thing. You can never start promoting something like this too soon. Because it's not like, I always wonder when people do events and stuff, they promoted like a couple weeks before.
Right.
And you miss so many people. And quite frankly, this is one of those things that's an ongoing concern that people are going to need. So, the more the word gets out, the more people can benefit from it. That's
right.
kind of what I'm
and
saying.
Actually, I think it's also fantastic exposure for businesses also. Nuisance Pest Management, and of course the Wild Jokers have teamed up now. What we're going to do, and if you'd like to call me or Brian, either one of our two entities here, we're going to help promote this golf tournament by actually promoting your business. We're actually teaming up the radio show with the golf tournament so we can do some live broadcasts.
Just
if you like to
please keep your clothes on.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
I'll at least my chaps.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to see that, we'll come on
broadcast. That's a really
broadcast.
bad visual.
Here's
Thank you very much.
Here's the phone number, 602-303-5869. Once again, 602-303-5869, or call Brian. Your digits?
480-447-8775.
So yeah, and then we're doing a good thing. Now, how's the pest management going? I mean, right now, it's starting to warm up. The creepy critters are out and about.
Oh, yeah, definitely, especially with temperatures on the rise. And, just the time of year and our exposure and everything, we're naturally getting busier and busier every week. And, scorpions are definitely out on the rise right now.
What about the snakes?
Definitely.
A little early for the snakes? Because I hike, and they're just barely starting to come out.
I've already seen a rattlesnake
I've only
in my
had
property.
one. Yeah, well, there was one last week, Pinnacle Peak. There was one on the trail.
Yeah, snakes are definitely out, but I actually haven't received too many calls about snakes.
Well,
so
one
far,
thing, let me
so-
pick your brain before we cut you loose and get all your vital stats for the
His
listeners.
vital signs?
Your vital signs. Yeah, he's breathing.
He's still alive.
Snake prevention. One or two tips for the listener out there. They're new to Arizona. We have so many transplants, so many new folks to the great state of Arizona. What are one or two things when they come into a property they should do with your help, or just preventive measures?
One of the main things is, they're going to be looking for food just like any other insect or animal out there. So, keeping up on your pest control as far as rodents, anything like that is going to help. And there's actually a few different products that even Home Depot sells called Snake Away, that you can put a barrier around your property.
Okay.
That does help repel. Kind of smells like mothballs, though.
But the rodent prevention, I think, is actually the enormous one right there, because that's what they feast off of.
Exactly.
How can people contact you?
480-447-8775, or also through our website, which is nuisancepest.com, which is NUSENSEPEST.com.
And Facebook, of course.
Of course.
And Facebook. Right on.
Well, you can't have enough Facebook. All right, we're doing rapid fire. Brian,
Rapid
thank
fire.
you so much
Thanks,
for
Brian.
that.
You're awesome.
Now we got to steal Ted. My buddy Ted, come on down because this is what we do. You be a part of the radio show. Besides the fact we promote the heck out of you, we hook you up with tickets and Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. You know I have a great relationship with Ted and Robin, who are here again.
Interest.
Very vested interest. They believed in me, and as I said, I'm here to. We are here to promote the heck out of them. But Ted, first and foremost, for being part of the Wild Joker family, we wanted to make sure you went to George Lopez. We want to get your rating on the show. How was it at the Celebrity Theater this last weekend?
Hold on. Are you on? Flipping? Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's live radio.
Brian
for you.
turned you off.
He gets that way with people.
Oh, yeah.
Could have been the other way around.
Right. Wow. Okay. This is a family show.
We're losing control.
Yeah, right.
But what was your rating on the show? Because Celebrity Theater, I mean, it's an older venue here in town, but it's very intimate, and I always love seeing shows there.
You know, it was fantastic. It was a little tight in there, but the show was phenomenal.
See, that's really cool.
It made up for it.
He's a character, that's for sure.
Oh man, it was great.
Okay, well that's right there. That's 4 or 5 stars at least on.
Yeah,
on the
I'd
show.
give it a 4.5 stars.
See, I like that. That's really cool.
Because the venue's not really the act, but it still affects your overall happiness.
Well, very much so. Now, last week, I must say, you guys came up with an archive photo of the pleasure device show, as I've now coined it, the 1950s pleasure device.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the
Almost forgot about
Facebook.
that.
It's on the Facebook. Robin, thank you for texting me that. It made my afternoon. I'm like, Lord. If the lovely Michelle, my fiance, sees that, she's going to think some shenanigans is going on.
There is shenanigans.
But
it's our mission to destroy your family show.
we're farthest thing from a family show. But that was hilarious. But how's business going? I mean, for both of you guys. I mean, especially with the pawn side of it right now and watching the news. And I don't like bringing politics in, but I'm sure with the ammo and firearms side of it, it's got to be a rather lucrative business right now.
It's a great business. The thing you see out there, though, is people are watching these pawn TV shows, and people are becoming more interested in the pawn business, so you have a lot of competition out there.
Right. And now, when it comes to expertise on this, because it fascinates the heck out of me, you go through your shop, you look around, and you see all these different cool items. How do you just collectively over years learn how to appraise these things? That's the one thing. I mean, do you call
That's a
special
good question,
friends?
Len. Wow.
I mean, yeah, I really...
seriously, because they have to know about a little bit of everything. It's not like you can just say, I know about guns, and then open a pawn shop. It doesn't work like that.
You need to know the collective on a value of, like that statue right there. I mean, what the heck would that be worth? I'd be clueless. How did you learn this art?
It's difficult to have a knowledge of everything, and when you watch shows like Pawn Stars and you see Rick, who knows everything about everything, well, he has a little time to Google things in between.
Right.
But the bottom line for us is we have a diversified group of people in the pawn shop, and see, my background is in real estate, construction, automobiles. I've always fixed my own cars, so I have a decent knowledge of tools and building supplies.
That's one other thing
tools.
that was really cool. You had a huge tool section and that kind of side.
It's
of
almost
stuff
silly to buy tools anywhere else. Really.
Well, yeah, I
mean,
saw
because
Makita and I saw DeWalt.
That's what I was going to say. You
good
normally
brands.
can find really good stuff, and most good guys, like I'm sure you guys are, don't buy stuff that isn't quality. They only buy the quality stuff, and that's the bottom line, really, when it comes down to
Well,
it.
and me doing business with them, I mean, I'm very blessed in the fact that I got quality because I was a consumer being partners with them, and that's the best testimonial in the world. I've got a piece of jewelry through their business that is beautiful, and it's just top notch. There's nothing bad there.
I'm still a little bitter that you were on the phone with me 15 minutes after you asked her to marry you, and you didn't even say anything. I had to go on Facebook and find out. Thanks a lot.
You have the power of the microphone. I didn't need it announced to the whole Valley of the Sun.
No, well, I know how to.
Sorry,
keep
we're
my,
getting into a
Sorry,
bicker
okay.
section.
Sorry, we're not the Bickersons.
Yeah, we are.
Well, if Michelle would like to upgrade, we did get a 5-carat diamond in.
Uh-oh.
So if Michelle likes to upgrade,
I'm going to be doing a lot of talking for years.
I have a feeling this is going to get cut out.
Absolutely not.
Can you
no.
do like
It's
a
live
30?
radio.
Can you do like a 30-year loan on that, maybe?
I know. I'm going to have to mortgage my. I'm going to have to mortgage my body or do something. Oh Lord.
We did talk about mannequin parts.
Oh, hold on. Get with Mike a little closer. Grab the mic.
We did talk about mannequin parts.
See,
Wait a minute,
that's
mannequin
true.
parts?
Well, last week's show. Remember?
Oh,
We
you're
were
talking about last week's show. I
mannequins.
thought you were talking about when you were in there. I was like, was there more?
Okay, if you want to have a crazy good time, as I said, meet Ted, meet Robin, go down to Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. I always put both together based on the fact because I did the jewelry side, but I'm going to be doing the gun side next. So there's going to be continued business. Website, Facebook, phone numbers. Start spewing your information, please, Ted.
And Robin is the gun lady.
Yes, she is. We have
Robin
pictures
when you
together.
come in. She does the gun shows. She loves firearms. She'll enjoy talking to you about any aspect of the firearms.
Any shows
business.
coming up that we're going to be doing?
I did not bring the schedule, but basically you can go online and see. We do all the crossroads. We are teaming up with you guys too to do gun radio, and of course I put everything on Facebook, so you can find us at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn.
We got a show coming up at the Shriners also coming up. We're going to be doing a gun show out at the Shriners. Yeah, coming up
this Sunday. Coming the 25th.
I believe so. Yes.
The 25th. So
if you guys are out there, I'll be out there. I mean, because if you're
I
there,
will
I'm
be there
there.
Sunday.
So if you're there, I'm there. That's just how it works. I mean, that's
really.
That's just how it works.
Well, that's how
Is
it
something
works.
you're trying to tell us?
Well, no. I mean, if they endorse the Wild Jokers, one of the Jokers have to be there.
All right. Well, just
And I'm the gun show of the two.
Yeah, the gun. You and your gun show.
Oh, of course. That was all those years of throwing hay. Come
Right. That's the problem.
All right. Throw a phone number out there, and we got to beat the street with Brad next. But what's a phone number, Ted?
520-836-7774. And friend us on Facebook. We'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on.
That's big time. Also, one other thing, because I like picking brains. What was, in the past week, what's been the most interesting thing to come into the shop?
Definitely a 5-carat diamond.
That the 5-carat was the featured...
it is something to look at. Come in and take a look at it.
What is the going value of it? As I say, may I ask?
It's probably worth close to $30,000. It'll be on sale for under 10.
That's a lot of radio.
Yeah,
that's
probably
seriously?
in the $7,000 to $8,000
Get
range.
out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. See, that's what you can get.
Yeah,
See, that's
all right.
value.
I'm not going near that, so it's all good. But I'll help you sell it.
I think you already did. Your girlfriend's listening.
Yeah, I know. I mean, my fiance is listening. Yeah, I'm gonna have to upgrade immediately.
Yeah, he's in trouble. He's not even married yet. He's
I'm going to be I'm going to be under the house. I mean,
Yeah,
this is something.
Uh-huh.
All right, thanks guys so much for coming on in, and we do appreciate it. And that's what you get with hanging out with the Wild Jokers.
It's interesting.
What
Nothing
is?
else,
It ain't boring because I mean I had no idea how to appraise a mannequin.
The question is a mannequin worth more than a womannequin?
Who knows? And it's that time once again for Brad to beat the street. Take a swig of soda there, my friend. Start beating it. What's going on?
You love saying that, don't you?
Oh.
Okay. So today,
Okay.
for all you pot smokers out there, this is someone who's giving you a bad name and driving like a moron. Back in Massachusetts, a guy blows a stop sign. Okay. Gets pulled over.
This is not about blow.
No.
This is about marijuana.
Right. I said he blew a stop sign.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He blew a stop sign. He went through a stop sign without stopping. Let's be more specific.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
You got to be careful. And anyway, so the guy went through the stop sign, didn't stop, gets pulled over. As he's rolling down the window, proceeds to blow a big puff of smoke from smoking a joint in his car, which would be a marijuana cigarette for any of you that aren't, well versed on that, which I'm surprised that most of you don't know. Anyway, blew a big puff of smoke out the window, and the police officer kind of looked at him like, "Are you kidding?" Well, the other problem he had was he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. Well, it just so happens
he's
that
racking him up.
This particular town, Springfield, just happens to be going through this like extra special click it or ticket campaign right now.
Oh, lovely.
So here's this guy blows a puff of smoke, marijuana smoke out of the car, not wearing a seatbelt, running a stop sign.
This sounds like the puff of smoke coming out of the window really reminds me of a Cheech and Chong film. Just that whole style.
Believe it or not, it gets better.
Did he have a card?
No.
Okay.
No card. So here's what happens. So evidently he rolls down the window, and the officer is like standing at the window, and the officer gets covered in this plume of smoke. Okay. And the officer says, and this is a quote, "Are you smoking marijuana while operating this motor vehicle?"
Oh, no.
And the
Say
alleged
no.
response is, "Why, yes, I am, officer."
Oh, you just incriminated yourself.
Needless to say, the 30-year-old is scheduled for arraignment on Wednesday
Ding
on charges
dong.
of operating under the influence, failure to obey a stop sign, and failure to wear a seatbelt.
He probably was going to get
triple
pegged.
threat.
Well, he's probably going to get pegged for the same charges anyways. If he said no, probably because if his key was in that ignition, but behind the drive, the steering wheel, you're still going to get pegged. You're still going to get pegged. More
depends
more
because
chances than not.
there's all those new flavored nicotine pen things.
Right.
So, he could have always tried to pull that card. I don't know how that would have
Perhaps
worked.
maybe, but that was pretty a dingy move, blowing your
come
smoke
on.
out at law enforcement.
Come on, people.
Not slick.
Yeah, come on. I'm not encouraging you to, you do that, but, come on.
But, yeah,
anyway,
the card, though. He should have the card.
He obviously had other issues. Even with a card, you're not supposed to do that.
Well, no, it's not supposed to be driving like
okay.
that. Okay.
So, all right, you ready for this one?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, I'm going to try to pronounce the name of this city in Tennessee, and I'm not making this up. It's not Murfreesboro. It's Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Murfreesboro.
I wonder how many times that gets botched.
I can tell you right now, I can hardly even say it, and I'm pretty good, I think, at that for the most part. Anyway.
Okay, so we're going south.
Right. So we're in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and a man got arrested for trying to take advantage of an ATM machine.
Okay, now I'm thinking about this, and I've perused many women and all their different orifices. My bottom line is this: I'm thinking about all the parts of an ATM machine. I don't know what one area of that machine that would be comfortable to, stick your junk in.
Well, let's put it this way: I don't think this guy really was thinking that clearly, because evidently what had happened was the guy walks into the bar, pulls down his pants, and literally starts going and humping the ATM machine. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say
that.
Yeah.
So
you can say that. No, I've been doing this long enough to know that one.
So he exposed his genitals in attempted intercourse with the ATM machine. Is that better?
No, but here maybe if you think about this in kind of a weird context, maybe he was a voyeur.
He was hammered.
Not a voyeur, but he wanted
an
people to
exhibitionist.
Exhibitionist,
Right.
And because here's the thing: there's a camera. So he knows somebody's watching.
No, the guy was a knucklehead. He was wasted out of his mind, and he was walking around the bar with his thing hanging out.
What is the weirdest thing you've done walking into a bar? Because
weirdest thing I've done?
I did something very, very unusual.
Uh-oh.
Do I
even want to know?
Matt's Saloon, Prescott, Arizona. I went up there quite a bit. I burned a lot of brain cells drinking a lot of Coors, and it's a part of my diet still to this day. But I would always go into my favorite saloon up there, Matt's Saloon on Whiskey Row. I'm going to give him a shout-out up there. Great country western bar. But as you walk in, they have a wooden Indian. And I used to dance with the wooden Indian when I'd get a little tipsy. I'd start boogieing, two-stepping.
For some reason, that doesn't surprise me
I would dip the wooden
Indian.
Indian.
That doesn't surprise me in the least bit.
And the bar staff got to know me so well, they're like, that's just Lenny's drunk.
It's the Indian humper.
I wasn't humping, I was dancing. That's different.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Call it what you want.
My Wranglers were still on, buddy.
As long as your thing wasn't hanging out, I guess you're probably safe.
It was hanging around somewhere, but it's in Wranglers.
Oh, okay.
Stuffed.
Whatever.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Next.
Yeah. Anyway, so speaking of pulling your pants down.
A good segue.
What is going on in this world? I mean, seriously? Is everybody getting naked everywhere?
I have a no pants policy myself at home.
Yeah, so do I, but that's at your house. These people are out running around. So this next knucklehead, he's in Dallas, right? Dallas, Texas, of course.
Great TV show, by the way.
Naked man seen jumping headfirst through the sunroof of a moving car.
Moving?
Yes.
Stuntman, I see.
Crazy man. Evidently,
crazy stuntman.
Evidently, he was wandering along the street, and there was a vehicle.
And he was buck naked.
He was buck naked, naked as the day he was born, buck naked. And anyway,
thank you.
Just making sure you knew.
Yeah, anyway, I got it.
Anyway, so the witness said that evidently there was a car passing by as this gentleman who was running around with his parts jingling and jangling jumps onto the car.
Do you have any photographs?
No, they just took a sunroof photograph for a fact. That's not exciting. No, we don't have. There was a video taken though. There was a resident did get a video, and it was on TV in Dallas. Just so you know. Anyway, so the witness said the guy was a little out of sorts, but he was completely naked, jumped onto the car, hopped into the sunroof, and started to attack the woman driving the car.
You're going away for that one. That's no point.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
No charges filed yet.
Did they know each other? That's now the follow-up.
Well, here's the weird part. The weird part is how the thing kind of ended. So imagine this is like right out of Starsky and Hutch, right? The guy's hanging from the sunroof. The lady crashes into a telephone pole.
Ooh.
Right. And the guy ran away. So she couldn't have been going that fast.
How can you?
He must have just been so hammered that
you get into a crash and you're just running away and it's a naked man. You think you'd find him if they're smashed and trashed
evidently
and nude. I mean, come on, that's crazy. For Dallas, Texas, I like Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Been there several times. Nice town. Like the city a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of anyway. So the guy actually was choking her and pulling her hair and then
kinky.
she crashed the car.
Kinky.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have pulled a couple lefts and rights real quick to see if I can, swing the guy off. I'm not going to wreck my car
I
for
tell
some
you something.
knucklehead.
That's why I
or
love.
Close the sunroof.
That's
for
why I
crying
like
out
living
loud.
here in
There's a
Arizona.
little button up there.
And of course, that was the beat on the street. Thank you so much for listening to the Wild Jokers here on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix. Make sure you check out our website at thewildjokers.com. Also, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/wildjokersradio. Make sure you look at our website and Facebook page for upcoming events with the Wild Jokers. Once again, thank you for listening to the Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix.